Hello there, dear film enthusiasts, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Tim and Tom's Film Nights. Today, we're discussing an intriguing flick from 1970, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. As always, I'm Thomas, and joining me tonight is my esteemed friend and colleague, Timothy. Now, let's dive in and hear what he thinks about this captivating film.
Well, Thomas, to be honest with you, I found it quite passable. It had a certain charm that kept me engaged throughout its runtime. While it wasn't my absolute favorite, I appreciated the drama and the way the story unfolded. However, I must admit that there were some slow parts that could have been trimmed down a bit.
That's interesting to hear, Timothy. As for me, I have to say that I didn't particularly enjoy it. There was just something about the film that left me feeling cold and disconnected from the characters. Perhaps it was the pacing or the writing. I can't quite put my finger on it. But overall, I found it rather disappointing.
Well, I can understand your perspective, Tom. However, I do think that the film has its merits and deserves some credit for exploring themes of fame, fortune, and relationships in an unconventional manner. Plus, the performances by Dolly Red, Cynthia Myers, and Marsha McBroom were quite captivating at times.
I'll give you that, Tim. The lead actresses did have some moments where they shone through. But for me, those bright spots were few and far between amidst a sea of melodrama and questionable plot twists. The whole film seemed to be trying too hard to shock or surprise the audience without any real substance behind it.
I can see where you're coming from, Thomas. However, I think that's part of its charm. It's meant to be over the top and campy at times, almost like a satire or a parody of the traditional Hollywood drama. And while it might not have been your cup of tea, there are definitely people out there who enjoy this sort of thing.
Well, that's true enough, Tim. I suppose it all comes down to personal taste in the end. So, what would you say was your favorite aspect or moment from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls?
Well, Tom, if I had to choose one moment or aspect from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls that stood out for me, it would be the performance by the real-life band Strawberry Alarm Clock during the party scene. Their psychedelic rock anthem, Barefoot in the Park, is simply electrifying and adds a much-needed shot of energy to the otherwise somewhat dull proceedings. It's moments like these where the film truly shines, showcasing its ability to blur the lines between reality and fantasy, past and present.
I can see why that would be a highlight for you, Tim. But as for me, I think one of the most interesting aspects of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is how it tackles themes like greed, jealousy, and betrayal in a rather unconventional manner. The characters are complex and flawed, making their actions both fascinating and frustrating to watch unfold. Although some might argue that the film's attempt at satire or social commentary falls short, it does manage to provoke gripping discussions about fame, fortune, and the lengths people will go for power and control.
That's a valid point. Mm-hmm. And speaking of interesting trivia related to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, do you know what movie inspired director Russ Meyer to make this film?
No, Timothy. I'm afraid I don't know the answer to your trivia question. So please enlighten me, and then we can continue our discussion on Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Well, Thomas, as it turns out, the 1960 Japanese film, The Green Bride, directed by Seijun Suzuki, served as a major inspiration for Russ Meyer when he decided to create his own satirical take on the Hollywood system and its obsession with fame and fortune. In fact, some critics argue that Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is essentially an updated, Americanized remake of The Green Bride, albeit with a more campy, over-the-top approach. So, what do you think about this interesting connection between these two films?
I find it fascinating how films influence each other across borders and generations, Timothy. It just goes to show the ever-evolving nature of cinema and its ability to comment on contemporary issues through the lens of satire or social commentary. However, returning to our discussion about Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, I'd like to delve deeper into this theme of greed, jealousy, and betrayal you mentioned earlier. In particular, I'm curious about how director Russ Meyer portrayed these themes through his characters and their actions in the film.
Well, Thomas, as we mentioned earlier, the characters in Beyond the Valley of Dolls are complex and flawed individuals who often resort to questionable means to achieve their goals. The story revolves around two young women from a small town who moved to Los Angeles chasing fame and fortune, but instead find themselves caught up in a web of deceit, manipulation, and betrayal. Throughout the film, greed and jealousy are portrayed as powerful motivators that drive people to do desperate things, often at the expense of their morals and relationships. In this sense, Mayer's approach to tackling these themes is both compelling and disturbing. On one hand, he exposes the darker side of the entertainment industry, where success can corrupt even the most well-intentioned individuals. On the other hand, he also highlights the damaging consequences of greed and jealousy when left unchecked, ultimately leading to tragic outcomes for many characters in the film. So what do you think, Thomas? How successful do you believe Russ Meyer was in portraying these themes through his characters and their actions in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls?
Well, Tim, I'd say director Russ Meyer did an admirable job portraying these themes through his characters and their actions in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. He crafted a narrative that expertly balances satire, social commentary, and pure campy entertainment, resulting in a film that remains watchable and engaging despite its 3-hour runtime. The performances are also commendable, particularly those of Dolly Redd and Cynthia Myers as the central characters Kelly and Casey, respectively. Their chemistry on screen is appreciable, even when they're caught up in the chaos of their tumultuous journey towards stardom. However, despite its strengths, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls isn't without its flaws. Some critics argue that the film's attempt at satire occasionally falls short, and some plot points might seem too far-fetched even for a campy exploitation flick like this one. Additionally, some character arcs feel underdeveloped or rushed, leaving us with more questions than answers at times. Nevertheless, as a whole, I would say that Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is a bold and unapologetic critique of fame, fortune, and the corrupting influence of greed and power. Despite its age, it still resonates strongly with modern audiences who are fascinated by the darker side of showbiz and the lengths people will go to achieve success at any cost. So, Timothy, what do you think? How would you rate the script and direction of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is terrible and 10 is masterpiece?
Well, Tom, as a lover of cinema and a connoisseur of satire, I would give Beyond the Valley of the Dolls a solid 8 out of 10. Director Russ Meyer successfully blends campy exploitation with social commentary to create an engaging and captivating film that remains relevant even today. The performances, especially those of Dolly Redd and Cynthia Myers as Kelly and Casey respectively, are captivating, adding depth and authenticity to their respective characters' journeys. However, I can understand the criticisms levied against the film's script and plot execution. Some scenes may seem too far-fetched for some viewers, while others might find certain character arcs underdeveloped or rushed. Despite these shortcomings, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is a must-watch for fans of exploitation cinema and satire alike. Its bold, unapologetic approach to tackling fame, fortune, greed, and betrayal is refreshingly unfiltered, providing a candid glimpse into the darker side of the entertainment industry. Now, moving on to your question about the influence of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls on later films and TV series, I'd like to point out that its impact has been significant. It paved the way for the rise of female-led exploitation cinema in the 1970s and beyond, inspiring movies like Foxy Brown and Coffee. Its campy aesthetic and satirical humor can also be seen in later cult classics like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which itself has had a lasting influence on horror-themed musicals like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The musical and the TV series Rocky Horror, in terms of more recent TV shows, I'd argue that the popularity of campy, sexually liberated female characters in shows like Posey, Bunheads, and even the recent reboot of Dallas can be traced back to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. These shows, much like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, challenge traditional gender roles and societal norms, embracing sexual freedom and individual expression. So, Thomas, do you agree with my assessment? Are there any other films or TV series that you think were influenced by Beyond the Valley of the Dolls that we've missed out on?
Oh, I completely agree with your assessment, Timothy. In fact, I'd like to add a few more examples of how Beyond the Valley of the Dolls has influenced the world of cinema and TV. For instance, the film's unapologetic portrayal of women taking control of their own destiny can be seen in movies such as Faster, Pussycat Kill Kill, which also stars cult icon and real-life Playboy playmate Tura Satana. The movie's subversive exploration of gender roles and sexual liberation continues to inspire. Films like Showgirls and even the recent remake of Death Race 2000. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls also had a significant impact on the world of music videos, particularly the work of director David Fincher, known for his provocative and visually stunning videos for artists like Madonna, Janet Jackson, and even Nine Inch Nails. The film's visual style, with its bold colors, exaggerated angles, and iconic close-ups, can be seen in Fincher's groundbreaking music video for Vogue, which catapulted Madonna into the pop culture stratosphere. Finally, the impact of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls extends beyond the silver screen and into the world of comic books as well. The film's campy mix of sex, violence, and satire has influenced works like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen by Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill, which pays homage to the movie's iconic characters and storyline. So, in conclusion, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls has left an indelible mark on the world of cinema and pop culture at large. Its influence continues to be felt today through its unapologetic portrayal of strong, sexualized women taking control of their own destinies, from music videos to comic books and even TV shows like Rocky Horror and Pose. The legacy of this camp classic lives on. What do you think, Timothy? Are there any other mediums or works that I've missed out on?
Well, Thomas, I must admit, while I enjoyed parts of the movie, I found it to be a bit over the top for my taste. However, one cannot deny its impact on the industry, paving the way for more daring and provocative films and TV shows alike. As for other mediums or works that you may have missed, I think we've covered quite a few already. From music to comics to theater and beyond, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls has left an indelible mark on popular culture. And with that, we've reached the end of our discussion about this groundbreaking film. Thank you, Thomas, for joining me tonight. It's been a wild ride, filled with laughter, tears, and plenty of disagreement. But isn't that what makes these conversations so entertaining?
Oh, Timothy, my dear old chap, it certainly does. And I must say, despite our differences of opinion on the film itself, I thoroughly enjoyed engaging in this spirited debate with you. As they say, opposites attract, and boy, do we ever. So to wrap things up, folks, make sure you subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends and enemies alike. And remember, there's no such thing as too much disagreement. It's the spice of life. Until next time, farewell. Dearest Timothy, and don't let those British stiff upper lips keep you from living a little bit more like a true American.